by head coach Kirby Smart from the University of Georgia, who will be available for 50 minutes. Coach, if you would start with a brief opening statement, and we'll open the floor to questions.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here today. Anytime you get an opportunity to play in a Sugar Bowl, it's a special time. I think it's one of the most historic bowls there is. It's even better when it's part of the CFP. Our guys have been hard at work and preparing for what is a great opponent in Notre Dame. I have a lot of respect for Coach Freeman, his staff. We have intertwined staff. We've gone against each other at different times. I think when you turn on the tape, their play speaks for itself, their physicality, their toughness. I had a lot of respect for their program, and we're excited to be here and very thankful that we get to play in a venue event, a historic game, all the classic Sugar Bowls that I grew up watching. It's always great to be a part of that. So with that, I'll close it out.
Thank you, Coach. Members of the media, please wait for the microphone to ask your question. We ask that you identify yourself by your name and media outlet. Please raise your hand. We'll start right here on the right side, second row.
Tom Zwiller of Irish Illustrated. Thanks for being here, Coach. I just had a quick question about Notre Dame's physicality. Like, how has it varied since you've played them in the past in 2017, 2019? And would you say that it has like the physicality or the feel of an SEC team at times?
Yeah, when we talk about their team, it's in depth, like their backups, their starters, their offensive line, their receiving core, their defensive line. They're big, and that's what it starts with in the SEC. The line of scrimmages have to have size and girth, because you have to take on these teams week in and week out that have great size. Notre Dame's built that way. They're built that way on paper, but then what you see on the tape speaks louder than the paper does. You see how they play. You see the toughness they play with. The linebackers are downhill thumping. The backs are elite. They're built like an SEC team, and I say that as a huge compliment because I think those rosters are some of the most talented in the country, and Notre Dame's built that way, probably more on the side of physicality.
We'll go to Ted Lewis here in the right side, front row.
Coach, Ted Lewis from the Times-Picayune. Two questions for you. First of all, yesterday, as you well know, Jimmy Carter died. I wonder if you ever had a chance to meet him and and if you knew that he attended the Notre Dame Georgia Sugar Bowl back in 1980.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he was 3 weeks away from going out. But anyway, just what he meant to someone like you that's a native of Georgia, and would you like to see some kind of a salute to him tomorrow night at the game?
Yeah, that's probably not a question for me to answer as far as a salute to him, but I certainly salute his life plan, his lifestyle, the way he lived his life. He embodies the Georgia culture in terms of being from a state, agricultural state. He's from the part of the state where I'm from, the southwest corner of the state, and there's so many things that he did for our state beyond people's even recognition. Just the fact that he was the president of the United States and was a fellow Georgian is pretty a special feat. And I didn't ever get to meet him personally. I have a lot of acquaintances, obviously, that know him, and tremendous amount of respect for what he did and what he meant to our state.
The other question is, James Franklin yesterday talked about the need for a commissioner of football because of everything that's going on. Suggested Nick would be good for it. I don't think he's coming out of retirement, but anyway, what do you feel like? I saw you the other day when they asked you about everything going on in December, how much trouble it did, or the distractions of NIL and transfer portal while you're trying to get ready. Does college football need a different structure, a commissioner, and maybe something outside of what you have now with conferences calling their own calls?
That's a really hard question and a really long question. I don't know that it's as simple as saying, let's name a commissioner and it solves all our problems. I don't think that's the case. I think we're governed by separate circumstances. Conferences govern us, NCAA governs us, now we have courts governing us, and nobody is over all of those. I think a commissioner would be a nice thing in theory, but what can they effectively get done if everybody can't agree on something? And Nick would be great. I know he's a huge advocate for college football. He wants to make it better. He's always been a person that believed in leave it better than you found it, and I have a lot of respect for the way he does it. But I'm probably not the guy that can tell you what a commissioner can and can't do in terms of making it a better process for all of us.
All right, we're going to go to the left side, front row.
Kirby, just very open-ended question, but what makes Gunnar Stockton a good quarterback?
Well, I think the number one thing a quarterback has to have is decision-making skill. Number one, he makes really good decisions. Number two thing for a quarterback is accuracy. Not necessarily arm talent, but accuracy. He has accuracy. So decision-making is a skill. Accuracy is a huge skill. Athletic ability and talent probably takes over third. He has those traits. All the intangibles in terms of toughness, character, embody what he was raised on. His dad was a really good football player, played at Georgia Southern. He's been raised around football. He's a coach's son. All the players play harder for him. Do you make the players around you better? Is what you look for in a quarterback. I think he raises the skill level of everybody around him because of who he is. So that's my reason for believing he's a good quarterback.
We'll go to the right side, second row.
Patrick Garvin with UGAsports.com. Kirby, lots going to be talked about Gunnar leading up to this game, but what have you seen from your backups, Ryan and Jaden Puglisi and Rashada, in the game? And have you recognized one of the two as the number 2 quarterback?
They've done a great job. Number one, it makes you realize how close you are to having to go in the game when it's like the next thing. When you're sitting there with a guy between you and the guy, it's different than when you're the guy and you got to be the next guy, and their reps have gone up. So in a weird way, it's been a blessing because I've seen both those kids really accelerate. You'd like to have seen that acceleration without this happening, but they've gotten more reps. They've gotten more important reps. And they're taking all Gunnar's reps because Gunnar's taking all Carson's reps. So I've been very pleased with both those guys, and I think they've embraced the role and understand that it's just a lot more urgent now, and I'm proud of what both of them are doing.
We'll stay on the right side, second row.
Coach, I was just wondering if you could speak to Bryce Young, number 30 on Notre Dame's defense, and how you prepare for.
I can't hear them. I don't know if they're too loud, but I can't hear your question.
Sorry.
Yeah, hold the microphone closer. Please
I
hold
don't
the
think it's
microphone
them. I just
closer.
think it's just loud over there.
So I was wondering if you could talk about Bryce Young, number 30 on Notre Dame's defense, and how you prepare for such a young player with a unique skill set who can be kind of a game changer on special teams.
Yeah, he is an exceptional player. I wasn't aware of him until we watched a little bit of tape on both Indiana and Notre Dame before we knew who we were going to play. And I was like, who is this guy? 30. He is long, he is athletic, he is twitchy. And then while watching the game, he showed up more because it was like he made some flash plays. He's rusher, he's edge. And then when I dug deeper into the special teams, I'm like, this guy is phenomenal on special teams. His reach, his athleticism. I don't know what they list him as, but he looks bigger than he lists as on paper. And just going to be a phenomenal talent. To do what he's done this early in his career just shows you how talented he's going to be.
All right, we'll go to the left side, front row.
Brandon Marcello, CBSSports.com. Kirby, how familiar are you with Anthony Knapp, the left tackle for Notre Dame, and did you ever be able to recruit him? Because I know he was just right in the backyard at Roswell a few years ago, or a couple of years ago.
I missed what you asked in there. You said their left tackle, the kid from Georgia?
Yeah, the kid from Georgia. What do you think of him, and did you ever get to recruit him at all?
Yeah, number one, he is playing really well, doing a great job. I remember him vividly being on our list and being a guy who's a good football player. I don't know how actively we recruited him because I can't remember what class he came out in. He was last year's class, I guess, yeah. So I remember going by there, and he was getting ready to go to school. And we were actually looking at maybe another kid at their school that just came out this year. And what a good-looking kid he was. And he's playing at a high level for them, doing a great job. I know this. The Georgia high school football programs put out kids all over the country. I was watching last night the Monday night football game. I guess it was Monday night. Maybe it wasn't Monday night, Sunday night. So watching the Falcons game, and I'm like, all right, there's A.J. Terrell making a hit on Chris Rodriguez, a kid from Kentucky and a kid from Clemson hitting each other, trying to make plays, and there's Georgia kids all over that field. The one thing you learn quickly as being the head coach at Georgia is you can't sign them all, and there's a lot of them that you end up missing on. And for a guy to start at freshman, at tackle, is really hard to do. Like probably one of the hardest things to do in football is play offensive line as a freshman, and he's doing it at a high level.
All right, we'll stay on the left side, front row.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
DJ Jones, Sports Visions. In previous years, we talked about this time of year and how important it was with you developing your players and the younger players. With all the recent changes as far as the portal, NIL, and all of that, how has that affected this part of it as far as the development?
Yeah, I don't know how much. I feel like the years that we've had really good development are the years we get more practices. So this year we've gotten, 12, 13 bonus practices. And those are where you develop your roster at. That's where you get like an extra spring practice. So it's almost a multiplier where, all right, I got 2 spring practices for my guys, sometimes for your mid-years, but I get extra practices to get our guys ready. The SEC championship game is an extra week of practice. I don't know that the portal and NIL has had any effect on that development. What affects that development is if more of your guys go in the portal, you got less players to develop. So the guys that are in the transition period, the ones who went in and aren't practicing with their teams, and the ones that are getting ready to come to your team, they're not practicing with you, so they're not getting better. So the people that stay put tend to develop better and get better as they go, and that's kind of been the proof in the pudding for us. We haven't been a huge portal team in terms of taking guys out of it. We like to develop our own roster and grow our own roster from within, but certainly we want to get better each year with somebody from the portal, and we try to do both.
We'll go to the right side, second row.
Coach Brooks Austin with Sports Illustrated. Both these football teams feature a quarterback whose legs could be a portion of this game, but you run into that, kind of area where you're trying to make sure your starting quarterback survives the football game. How do you go about winning this game using your quarterback's legs while also making sure, hey, we get this guy out of here upright?
Yeah, you have to do everything you can. It's win or go home. So there is no measure of, well, I got to be conservative on this, I got to be conservative on that. I mean, is your quarterback a better running back than your running backs? It's the first question. Hard to believe with the backs they got, and hard to believe with the backs we got, that either of our quarterbacks are better. They are an extra hat. They bring an extra dimension. Red area, super high tendency to run the quarterback. Zone read teams, ability to pull the ball, eye candy, option plays. Both teams execute those. I don't think either coordinator will be holding back because they're worried about the next game. They're going to do whatever they have to do to win this game. And if Gunner or Riley had to run the ball 30 times to win the game, I think both coordinators would do that. It's not the makeup of the offenses, but whatever they got to do to win the game, they'll do.
We'll stay on the right side, second row.
Coach, I wanted to ask you specifically about Onjazir Jackson, 6'11", didn't play high school football. How do you come across a guy like that? I mean, how did he pop up on the radar? What did you do to go pursue him?
Well, he did play football all his life growing up till 8th grade, and he was a high-level football player in the 8th grade. Most people don't track 8th graders. We weren't tracking him, but he was getting invited to IMG. He had an opportunity to go play at some high-level football programs, even in South Florida. So it wasn't like it was completely new for him, where you find some basketball players that never played football. He played football growing up. He just had a break there where he didn't, and he focused on basketball. But he came to a camp and worked out for us over summer like he did for about 5 schools. We felt like he had a lot of traits you look for. You can't coach size. He had great athleticism. He's had a big curve in terms of physicality, sticking your face in there, learning terms, movements, passing off twists. There's so many things you learn from 9th grade to 12th grade. He's trying to learn all 4 years in a year. And you can't put 4 years into 1 year and just say magically, oh, this guy's ready to go. It doesn't work like that. He is taking strides this year towards getting better. And as long as he continues to take those strides, sky's the limit. But some people think it's just about athleticism and you put a guy out there. There's so much more to playing offensive line than just talent. There's a lot of traits there that he's still working on.